Hello and welcome to Charity's Treasures. Today is Definition Tuesday. Okay, today's word. We will be using this word all week in the episodes that I'm going to be covering. You will notice that we use these words frequently as we proceed forward in each podcast. And this will happen throughout the year, because we'll be repeating what we learned throughout the year. So you can recognize that how all of this comes together and like we talked about yesterday, is in a union. So if you miss an episode, you might be confused at future episodes or that you watch. So you might have to go back and watch another episode just so you know what's going on, because it's like a story. We're telling a story throughout the year, and we will be using what we learned from the beginning throughout the year till we get to the end. So that's how a story works, right? Okay, so our word today is enigmatically. enigmatically. So I don't know if a lot of you have heard that word, but I'm going to talk a little bit about this word today. What it means. So this is what it means if you look it up. Acting or speaking in a mysterious, puzzling, or ambiguous way, as if holding a secret or hidden meaning that is difficult to understand, often used to describe actions, smiles, or speech that are deliberately vague or intriguing. It is the adverb form of enigmatic, describing something that is an enigma, a riddle, or a puzzle, which coincides with all these dreams and visions, right, that we're talking about. Key meanings: mysterious, in a way that suggests something is unknown or a secret. Puzzling, in a way that makes you wonder or try to figure something out. Ambiguous, not clear or straightforward, leaving room for interpretation. So here are some examples, just so you kind of understand what this word is, because we're going to be using it a lot. She enigmatically smiled, leaving everyone wondering what she truly thought. The ancient text was written enigmatically, full of riddles and metaphors. We may say that parables could be included in this example, right? Jesus used parables often to have his teachings understood by those who were specifically in tune to him. Those who studied his word comprehended his teaching in parables. Another example: the artist spoke enigmatically about his work, inviting viewers to find their own meaning. Pretty cool word, right? So Candace's dream. This is perfect word for all these dreams and visions that we're talking about. So Candace, if those of you don't follow her, she had a dream after Charlie died about Charlie, which actually was a part of a memory. The memory was added upon when she dreamt of this situation that her and Charlie were in. So this is what the dream's kind of background is. Candace and Charlie were in Israel. This actually happened, and this is part of her dream. Candace and Charlie went to Israel in 2018 for the opening of the embassy in Jerusalem, the American embassy. They sat down and ate lunch, and he was eating hummus. Hummus is very good. And he was really excited about the hummus. I mean, hummus is exciting, don't you think? In the dream, they weren't there. In the dream, they weren't there for the opening of the embassy, even though in real life, when in 2018 they were. They were there because Bibi Netanyahu's wife had died in the dream, and they were there for her funeral. She isn't actually dead, but this was in the dream. Charlie told Candace in the dream that he did not have much time. I don't have much time, Candace. And she needed to see what happened on his left. That they were hiding something to his left. They, who are they? He said, they are hiding what happened to my left, Candace. Then he told her, they betrayed me. She asked Charlie, who betrayed you? Every time she would say, who betrayed you? She would wake up from her dream. She said that every time he would say this, they betrayed me, it would sound like he was underwater. And this is important for tomorrow's episode and the episodes after. I don't know if we'll talk about it in tomorrow's episode, but maybe the week after. There's just so much material to cover and so much context in these two dreams. She explained to her watchers, us, that after having a few of these dreams, someone did come into her mind. So it kind of extended after so many dreams. Someone who was around the corner to the left of the restaurant was Andrew Kovet, who is the PR guy for, I think it's the PR guy for Turning Point USA. Okay, so that was her experience in 2018, and then she had a dream of it. On her show, February 12th, 2026, she shared with us an experience that she had with Charlie, which I thought was so interesting. I loved that she shared this experience. I wish I could sit down and talk to her and we could talk about these things. Okay, so anyways, in this experience, she had with Charlie shortly before his death, she said that he lied. She called Charlie out on this lie. So when she asked the question, she saw Charlie, I think it might have been like around Turning Point. I'm not sure. I can't remember what she said there, but she saw Charlie and had asked Charlie a question about a guy named Ike. And if Charlie had talked to Ike recently. Charlie said it had been a couple weeks since he talked to Ike. Excuse me, got a frog in my throat. When it was really just the day before. And Candace already knew this. This is how Candace works. She already knows what the answer is most of the time when she asks someone a question, because that's why she's asking the question, right? Okay, anyways, funny, interesting. Okay, so Charlie said he talked to him a couple weeks ago when Candace knew he had just talked to him the day before. So she called Charlie out on her lie and was like, Charlie, you're lying to me. When she asked the question, he was heading down the elevator. And when she called him out on it, he put his hand to leave the elevator door open, and he began to apologize to her. Sorry, Candace, sorry. She said she was shocked and confused by his lie because they were so close. Why was he lying to her? She said after they went back down the elevator, so she got on the elevator, they went to the lobby, and they sat at a table and talked. And she told him that he had new people in his ear hijacking his ambition. So I think this is key, that they were hijacking his ambition, which we will be talking about in the coming weeks, maybe a little bit tomorrow. She said that money started to become the true measure of success. Money. That is true sometimes, isn't it? When they were in the restaurant, she said she warned him about the new hires, and especially Stacy Sheridan. Stacy Sheridan. She's getting a lot of news lately, right? So breakdown. I'm going to give some basic information about some aspects of this dream and of Candace's and Charlie's visit after he lied to her. Tomorrow I will talk more about the dream I shared about the shadow and the mirrors and relate it to today. So it's just going to be like a continual stream of a story. So we're going to be relating, going back and forth. We will be discussing these things in the next few weeks because they cannot be covered in just a few episodes. So there's a lot of information to break down. So hummus. Hummus in a dream often symbolizes the need to smooth over a difficult situation, relationship, or personal, embarrassing, or disappointing event. It suggests taking initiative to reduce friction in your life, letting go of past issues, or experimenting with new ideas without making a total commitment. So I'm going to have a little bit more about these things in my Substack. If you go to my Substack, you'll be able to read more information. I'm just going to cover a little basic stuff today, but my Substack will have more information. So Summus, what does it indicate? Smoothing over conflict, embarrassment or disappointment, trying something new, comfort and routine. Ultimately, the dream encourages a more relaxed, blended, or diplomatic approach to your waking life challenges. Okay, so funerals. In her dream of going to the funeral. Dreaming of funerals for someone still alive rarely predicts death. Instead, it typically symbolizes a major life change, the end of a chapter, or transformation in your relationship with that person. It often represents letting go of past dynamics, repressed emotions, or a need to distance yourself from them. Okay, and in essence, these dreams are reflections of your internal emotional landscape rather than premonitions of physical death. Not that that doesn't always happen. We talked about that before with my nephew and the dream I had of a funeral, even though I didn't know it was a funeral. Attending a funeral. Dreaming of attending a funeral generally symbolizes the end of a life phase, a relationship, or a deep emotional transition rather than literal death. It often represents a psychological burying of past habits, suppressed emotions, or a need to let go of something to begin anew. It signifies significant transformation and personal growth. We're going to talk a lot about this as I interpret the dreams that I talked about 2 weeks ago. Okay, these dreams are often emotional rather than logical, highlighting the need to pay attention to your feelings during the dream, such as sorrow, relief, or confusion. All of these are important. We will be revisiting them. So the dream. Last Tuesday, I shared a dream with you about an angel with wings. We are going to discuss the interpretation a bit of it today and continue discussing it in the coming weeks, as we will be going in and out of this dream and its meaning associated with other dreams and visions that I share. Theology. Candace is consistently talking about theology, how theology is the way to understanding. Yet she does not know the theology of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. She does not understand the principles and doctrines of the church and how those principles and doctrines can be used to benefit the learning of theology. Even if she doesn't believe it, she can still learn from it. Which to say, if she doesn't even believe in the church, she can still study the principles and doctrines and learn from it, right? It's really not the right time for her to be a member of the church. And plus, her husband has to be involved in that. I think that's part of the reason why she became Catholic, is because her husband was, and it's more uniting in their family. So obviously it is good to have them united in this way. The shining angel with wings. Seeing an angel with white angelic, or this is, we're coming back to this. We learned this a couple weeks ago, but I'm just refreshing your memory. You can also go back to the 2 weeks ago episode. But so seeing an angel with a white angelic or light colored and black wings generally symbolizes a powerful balance between opposing forces such as light and darkness and good and evil. And the journey and the image may symbolize a personal journey or metamorphosis, which kind of we talked about a little bit in these definitions of the dream and the funeral and things today. So my interpretation. What is my interpretation of the dream I had of Candace being the illuminated angel with wings? The reason I saw a mirror of myself but knew it wasn't me was because my wings do not have black in them. My marvelous wings are completely white. And why are they? Because I have knowledge of the fullness of the gospel, of course. And because I know where to find the fullness of the gospel. I can because I know where to find it, I can repel the darkness in a way that Candace doesn't know how to. Because I know where truth is, I have protection from darkness in a way she does not. Truth is protection, right? In my blessing, it tells me that if I read and reread the scriptures, more especially the Book of Mormon, I will be shielded from the adversary. I find that to be true in my life, especially the more I dedicate my study of the scriptures. I have a great shield against the adversary. The adversary does not have power over me because of that study. Full truth and knowledge, as far as it has been given to us, shields us from the adversary. I have learned this over time because of my diligent study of the true gospel and its principles and doctrines, while applying these principles and doctrines in my life. I believe in a way that Candace doesn't know how to believe. She doesn't know. When you don't have the full truth and the ability to find that truth, then you don't know how to fully believe, right? Because you don't have that full truth. I believe Candace in my dream is foreshadowing herself onto me so that she can make her wings white. This reflects the other dream I had of her being a shadow and connecting herself to me. Okay? She doesn't even know she's foreshadowing me. How does she do that? She studies the Book of Mormon and applies its principles and doctrines into her life. Even if she doesn't become a member, which I don't think she is supposed to do at this time, this is how she can make her wings white. Because wings represent truth. And she doesn't have the complete truth. It's weighing her down. Okay. There will be a time in her life where she will understand truth that she doesn't understand presently. In this process, she not only will make her wings white, but she will dispel the darkness that surrounds her. The darkness is her not knowing the true gospel. It also represents opposition and the world attacking her for her investigating this case. Truth and knowledge dispel darkness, and they have no control over you when it is dispelled. Or truth and knowledge dispel darkness, and they have no control over you or the darkness. Lack of understanding and truth does not have control over you when truth is known. So sometimes we have lack of understanding, and that can control us, right? But when we know truth, when truth is known, then we no longer have that lack of understanding, and so we have control, right? In this process, I am foreshadowing Candace into my story that I am writing. So she's foreshadowing me, and I'm foreshadowing her. And this is something we're going to talk about the other dream I had, which is really important. We are helping each other. I am the angel, and so is she, right? We are sharing this experience. Now, Candace obviously doesn't watch my podcast, but I believe God has all power and is having me cover this topic as I reach out to her for some reason that will somehow reach her. I don't know how God's working, but he's working. I am covering this in small increments. So those of you just learning about this and having this information kind of thrown at you, you can marinate it, the information slowly, and not become overwhelmed. So I'm just doing this in small little parts. But anyways, that is part of the interpretation. We will talk a little bit more about the other dream tomorrow and that interpretation. It's all very interesting as I'm learning along with you. But because I've been dreaming for so long, I understand a little bit of how to interpret dreams a lot better because I've been doing it. And I have a whole 8-book series on dreams and interpretations and the gospel. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you come back tomorrow to learn more about Candace's dreams and my dream and how all of this is connecting and why it is important for for her to understand this. And you. It's important for you to understand it too. So bye, everybody.